was on Sunday morning, I don't remember the exact date, but my good friend Colleen called me up and said, we gotta go protest, let's get some signs and go downtown and protest. And so we talked about it, and I said, okay, so we decided that I would start this little private Facebook page and invite people we knew. So I started the page, I made it private, and just putting on names of people who I knew. And I said, if you know somebody who think should be on this, let me know, we'll let them in, right? So Colleen and I thought, well, maybe 10 people will show up, to our protest. And 75 people showed up.
So who joined these protests? I would like to say that it was an amazing amalgamation of citizenry, in the sense that initially, I would say it was older people and young people. And as it rolled out, as the protests went on, there was young people, there were little people with families, there were grandmas and grandpas. There was a bulk of students, non-students, just young people from the area and not from the area. And to me, that was the beauty of the protests and who joined it, is that it was like a magnet. And if you have this impulse, we have the venue.
I think the community was nervous about it, the protests. Like I said, the very first protest, I got a call from the park ranger who was very, very helpful. I had the chief of police calling me, and then almost every protest we had someone contacting us. And then we would contact them. We would contact the chief and say, we're planning this protest this day, because we were peaceful. There was nothing about our protest that wasn't peaceful. We were respectful, First off, there were concerns by town and county leaders. Every protest, we got phone calls from either the chief, and we tried to let the chief of police in town know, but the county administrator called both me and Megan, kind of threatening, saying, if you do this, we can arrest you, sort of. He was threatening. And there were rumors. I had somebody, I'm not going to say who it was, they called me and said, there's a rumor going around that they are busing in protesters to come here into Farmville, Antifa. They're going to bring in Antifa, which, I'm like, we're on the Facebook protest page. I have seen nothing like that. Megan has seen nothing like that. We're not asking for outsiders to come. We don't want outside agitators to come. We have plenty of local people here who are protesting. And so these were, I think, fear-based things that were started by the right-wing type of folks. And of course, nothing like that happened. But I think people were really afraid, some people in the local community, about us just even protesting, which I don't understand, but they were.
My involvement with the protests primarily was a participant and a supporter. There were a variety of protests out here. We've got to be able to differentiate. There were smaller ones that were orchestrated and organized by folks like Lee and Colleen and Megan. And those were the smaller ones in the yard of the courthouse. And so we went and we would go and participate, and I kind of missed a few of those. But then Brittany Richardson coordinated a march. And when I heard about it, when I first noticed it on the Facebook group, Peaceful Protest group, I knew immediately I wanted to help promote. So I contacted Brittany and got the details and started calling folks that I know who are influencers in the community. And if they didn't already know about it, made sure they did. And it was about getting every group we could think of from every walk to participate.
Ben, stop. Fix your ear.
I got involved for just the lifestyle that I lead. I am very connected to the Black community. I do have a biracial child. I am in a biracial relationship. And so I saw through friends and loved ones what they were experiencing. Things that I took for granted. With all of the unjust killings and the other areas in the country stepping up and doing marches and protests, I felt that it was important to make sure that the community that I am a part of was also getting involved and standing tall beside our brown and black brothers and sisters. We did not have a large march of thousands like we saw in other cities, but for Farmville, I felt, proud of the amount of people that came forward. In discussion, I saw, there were Democrats and Republicans. There were people talking about different issues, but we were talking together. We all joined together. We were all standing side by side, brothers and sisters, marching for the same purpose.
What was the purpose of the protest? I know for me, we took it as an opportunity to bring out the community and put voice to issue. After Brother Floyd's public execution, it was like, okay, this has got to stop. We have got to bring attention as a people. And we are in historic Farmville. And this is a place where a 16-year-old girl said something has to be done.
A community member, I reached out, being a white woman. I wanted my intentions to be genuine. I didn't want anybody to think that I was using this platform to right my wrongs, so to speak. I did reach out to a community member, Gil, and she kind of reinforced the fact that currently no one has stepped up that is brown or black. And so why not? If I'm able to present in a way that my genuine intentions can come out, then that's what's important. It's not the color of my skin. It's not anything else but the purpose of the march. And in regards to maybe why no one else stepped up, I think that there was some fear. I think there is a lot of fear for people to step forward and talk about such an important topic, because unfortunately it is our brown and black people who have the negative consequences when they try to step forward.
I didn't really think it was going to go viral. But I had no idea that it was going to have because on my page alone it was getting thousands and thousands of shares, and then I kept having friends who were tagging me in screen caps or sending me other examples of it being shared on. I know it got really big on Twitter, and I obviously liked it, that's why I made it, but I really had no idea that it was going to generate that kind of a reaction in so many people. So the design was inspired by a response that I have in this area and just in America in general. We hear a lot of people saying, I don't see race, I don't see color. And at one of my first jobs out of college, I had a coworker who liked saying that a lot. And the problem with that statement is that it makes the conversation about you. And I finally told him, when you don't see colors, you don't see patterns. So it's really easy to say, well, I'm not seeing this, but I, meaning me, I am seeing this. I am seeing these people getting unfairly profiled, getting unfairly arrested, getting unfairly treated. And your choice to not notice the continuation of this issue doesn't help anyone, least of all the people being impacted by it. It's really funny when I see other people who are sharing it and posting it on social media. My race isn't really brought into question all that much. It's really funny. Like, I haven't seen people who are either for it or against it be like, oh, it's so interesting that a white guy is saying this, which is fine. Like, I don't want that reaction necessarily. It's mostly just focusing on the message of, oh, people need to hear this. This is why when you say this isn't good. But again, as a white person, I can't just sit back and say, oh yeah, racism's bad, and then not do anything, not contribute to it. I've heard a lot of internet posts articulating that, in a society like ours, it's not just enough to not be racist. You have to be actively anti-racist. So kind of in the same vein as like Jane Elliott. I want to kind of be a person who uses my whiteness as a kind of foot in the door to have conversations with people who would not have this conversation with anyone else.
So as somebody who grew up here, I will be completely honest that, you'll find I'm very much a straight shooter. For the most part, like, I didn't notice the statue growing up. It wasn't Lee, it wasn't Stonewall. It was a generic one of a couple hundred, one of 1,000 statues of a generic Confederate soldier. It didn't really bother me until I started to learn more about it all. And then I'm just like, yeah, why do we have this? And then you have to talk about, and then that, as I meet friends from the north, per se, north of the Mason-Dixon line, it's like, yeah, y'all in the South are weird with your monuments and your street names and stuff. But like growing up here, that's not something that I thought about a lot. It's just something I was used to. Like, which is so sad to say that out loud, because it's like you're so used to being discriminated against that like you are desensitized to it and that you internalize it. That's kind of how I felt about the statue.
It's a weird part of Farmville history. I just know that it needed to come down. It was part of a movement to take them down. And I have mixed feelings, partly of respect and partly of regret for the way that it came down. Because it avoided bloodshed, it avoided people getting shot. I don't know if that would have happened. It avoided conflict in a sense. On the other side, you can't avoid conflict because it's there, whether you face it now or later.
They were put up to strike terror in the hearts of people. They were put up as part of a big white supremacy movement through the 1900s, early 1900s. And there's been a lot of folks that have been miseducated about what happened and had this romantic notion of the Civil War and this romantic notion of the Confederacy, and that's just utterly false.
I'm of the mindset you learn from primary sources. You don't learn from statues, right? In my opinion, usually. I can't recall a single thing a statue has taught me in and of itself. Taking a statue down and doing that alone is a Band-Aid. Band-Aids don't fix anything. You need to take the Band-Aid off to let the wound heal, at least eventually. Maybe not at first, but and Band-Aids are important. They protect you from infection early on, but like eventually you need to take the Band-Aid off to let the wound heal.
What should people know about the protest in Farmville? They should know that the community came together against some very common ills in society. To see so many locals, so many people from here, from different groups, showing their power and their light, I'll never forget it. Yeah, the bar went up. I have high expectations, and I'm going to put some emphasis here. These individuals I'm referring to have always been active groups in the community, but have they ever joined forces? Not everybody. That day, almost everybody was together. Almost everybody was represented on some level. I think that's awesome.
My dream for Farmville, my dream for Prince Edward County, is when people come here, I want people to be able to go to whatever school they want without people judging them. I want them to look at this community and then look at the history and be like, wait, this is the same community? I want them to be genuinely shocked when they find out the history that happened here.
The current state of Farmville, in the past 70 years, as we mark the 70th anniversary, right, of the school protest, I see healing. I think there's still healing. I see progress on many levels. I see progress. So, yeah.
Anybody can be the change. I don't think that it has to be one person. I don't think that it has to be a large group of people. It has to be someone somewhere willing to make that happen. I don't care if you are small town Virginia or Farmville. I don't care if you're large city California. Change can happen anywhere. It's just gonna take someone willing to put in the work to make it happen.